state's favor during the trial. First, testimony about the defendant's confession has been excluded. Secondly, testimony from cross-examination of the defendant, which challenged his credibility, was excluded. And thirdly, the judge had erred in distinguishing the first and second-degree murder during his instructions to the jury. Thus, the state Supreme Court overturned the verdict of the first trial and granted a second, in which Palco was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. Palco appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, stating that his constitutional right of not being subjected to double jeopardy was being violated. But double jeopardy only appeared in the Fifth Amendment, and thus only applied to federal proceedings. However, Palco cited the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. No state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The Supreme Court case was heard in the year 1937 by Chief Justice Charles E. Hughes under the presidency of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. On December 6th, the court ruled in the favor of the state of Connecticut, with the case decided by a vote of 8-1. The lone justice to dissent was Justice Pierce Butler, but he did not author the dissenting opinion. Frank Palco was executed in Connecticut's electric chair on April 12, 1938. The Palco case was an important contribution in creating an acceptable test to guide the court's use of the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause and limiting the actions of the state's government. Justice Cardozo created the fundamental rights test in the Palco opinion. In 1969, the court overruled Palco versus Connecticut in the case Brenton versus Maryland. Thus, double jeopardy became one of the provisions of the Bill of Rights to be selectively incorporated in the 14th Amendment and later applied to the state. And thus, the Bill of Rights, the 14th Amendment was applied, and it incorporated the Fifth Amendment and applied it to the states, allowing its
Alright. 3:28.
Oh, Jenny, you should have been like 2 seconds. You could have done one of these in there. Jenny, you could have done one of these in there. Just like,